हेलो एवरीवन, वेलकम बैक टू अनदर एपिसोड ऑफ तालुकात सीरीज। ये एक कोलैबोरेटिव प्रोजेक्ट है द सेफ स्पेस और सुखन का। इसमें आप पहले भी देखते आ रहे हैं, वी हैव बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट मेंटल हेल्थ एंड ऑल थिंग्स रिलेटेड टू मेंटल हेल्थ। सो टुडे वी आर अगेन कमिंग अप विद एन इंटरेस्टिंग एंड वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक व्हिच इज अबाउट फीलिंग्स। और जब मैंने ये टॉपिक सुना और जब मुझे फर्स्ट टाइम रिकमेंड हुआ, द फर्स्ट थिंग दैट केम टू माय माइंड वाज इनसाइड आउट, जो मूवी हमने देखी थी, एंड आई रियली रियली लाइक दैट एनिमेटेड मूवी because it talks extensively about feelings. But before we move on to that, सबसे पहले मैं अपनी जो आज की हमारी गेस्ट हैं अनम हाशमी को वेलकम करना चाहूंगा। अनम, वेलकम टू द शो।
Hi, how are you, Ahmad?
आई एम गुड। लाहौर की गर्मी में जो आपके सामने हालात हैं, बस वैसा ही गुजर रहा है, अदरवाइज ऑल गुड।
Barely making it, yeah, exactly.
सो अनम का हम थोड़ा सा तारुफ कराते चलो। अनम हाशमी जो है पिछले एजुकेशन सेक्टर में है फॉर 8 years नाउ। शी इज एन एकेडमिक कोऑर्डिनेटर एट अ नाउन स्कूल इन लाहौर। इसके अलावा अभी ये क्या कर रही है, इनका अपना जो प्रोजेक्ट है वो क्यों है, क्या है, उस पर हम आगे बात करेंगे। बट इसके साथ साथ वो टीचिंग भी करती हैं। शी इज मॉम टू टू अमेजिंग गर्ल्स व्हिच हमें एक ग्रुप में आ जाते हैं बिकॉज आई एम डैड टू वन अमेजिंग गर्ल, सो आई थिंक हम उस क्लब का भी हिस्सा है। गुड टू नो अनम। बट सबसे पहले क्योंकि हम बात कर रहे थे यहाँ पे कि फीलिंग्स की बात हो रही है, और स्पेशली हमारा आज जो फोकस होगा वो बच्चों की फीलिंग्स के हवाले से होगा। और बचपन में अगर हमें जो फीलिंग्स सीखते हैं, नहीं सीख पाते, क्या फायदा होता है, क्यों इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, सो वी विल बी टॉकिंग ऑल अबाउट इट। बट आई थिंक सबसे पहले जो है हम लोग स्टार्ट करते हैं 101 से। सो हाउ वुड यू डिफाइन के फीलिंग्स किस तरह मैनेज की जा सकती हैं, किस तरह हम रियलाइज करते हैं, किस एज पे हम रियलाइज करते हैं कि दिस इज समथिंग व्हाट आई एम फीलिंग एंड दिस इज हाउ आई एम गोइंग टू कंट्रोल इट, मैनेज इट। एंड सेकेंडली, क्या ये एक स्किल है जो डेवलप किया जा सकता है, या ये एक कहते हैं इनबिल्ट आपके अंदर कैपेसिटी होती है?
Okay, so Hamad, the thing is that I would like to start from the fact that as a society in general, since childhood, at least till our generation, we have not been taught about the fact that feelings themselves, या जो soft skills होते हैं, they themselves are very important. The main focus has always been on academic side. और उसकी वजह से when we used to feel, I mean, I remember very clearly that I used to have, I was a very bright academically, but when it came to my mental health, I clearly remember having panic attacks, having difficulty otherwise communicating, socializing with my peers. And that was something जिसके बारे में we used to think अच्छा शायद इस बारे में बात ही नहीं करते हैं, ये कोई इस तरह की चीज ही नहीं है which can be discussed mostly. So after becoming a mother myself, I came to this realization that academics obviously are very important. I myself come from an education background, but when we talk about a child, so as you say, emotions, बेसिकली इमोशंस ही इंसान को बना रहे होते हैं। बेसिकली इमोशंस आर समथिंग जो कि फीलिंग और इमोशन की बेस पे ही पूरा इंसान बनता है। तो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट दैट इमोशनल डेवलपमेंट, इट स्टार्ट्स फ्रॉम वेरी बिगिनिंग। आई हैव सीन दैट इन माय ओन गर्ल्स, बट व्हेन वी टॉक एज एन एजुकेशनिस्ट, we start working on their emotional skills from the very beginning. At least that's what we try to do. In their kindergarten level, we try to inculcate those emotional skills in them, right? But as far as Pakistan is concerned, that is something which I have realized that is still something which is considered as an auxiliary to learning. That is not the main learning thing right now. मतलब मैंने अपने आप को कैसे मैनेज करना है, ये इतना इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है सीखना। ये ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट है कि ए जो है वो सही लाइन के बीच में होना चाहिए, और बी जो है उसका डंडा लंबा होना चाहिए या छोटा होना चाहिए। So when I started looking for certain spaces in Pakistan, जहाँ पे कि मैं अपने बच्चों के, ठीक है, academics तो obviously we all are concerned, but when I would want them to develop as humans, I could not exactly find those spaces. So when you were talking about emotional development, मुझे आप काट दीजिएगा बीच में if I am derailing from the topic. But when we talk about emotional development, so there is this whole model that is called SEL. Basically, that is currently implemented in America as well as Europe as well, that is social and emotional learning, right? And that basically equips a child. और ये नहीं कि ये सिर्फ कोई 3 से 4 साल के बच्चों के की कोई एक्टिविटीज हैं, ये ऐसा नहीं है. This is basically a whole curriculum that is formed to help young learners as well as adults. University of Yale has been offering this particular course to educators as well, so that they can equip themselves with those skills, and then they can equip their learners with those skills. So when we are talking about those that learning के हम कब से वो सीखना शुरू करते हैं या कब से वो सीखना शुरू करनी चाहिए, तो as young as 3 or 4, when we start understanding our own selves, जब थोड़ी सी self identification, self awareness start हो जाती है, we as parents, we as educators, we have this responsibility of letting our children know about these 5 different stages. So if you allow me, I would like you to walk through those 5 different stages of social and emotional learning. The first one is that we start off with self-awareness, right? Self-awareness में the child starts understanding their own self, कि मैं क्या हूँ, मैं कौन हूँ, जिसमें कि हम आइडेंटिटी की बात करते हैं, जिसमें हम बिलीफ्स की बात करते हैं. Not going to deep into that, obviously not that existential, not to the existential level, but obviously understanding कि मेरी roots क्या है, मैं indigenously किधर से हूँ, मुझे मैं what makes me, what are the things that I am gaining from the society, what are the things जो कि मैं actually हूँ as a person. Then comes self-management, the second stage, that okay, I have started realizing who I am, maybe, and then I need to self-regulate or self-manage my own self as well. So when you were, Hamad, when you were talking to me about regulation of emotions, so wahan pe we start talking to children about the fact that your emotions are your responsibility, and there are ways to manage that. There are ways we can help a child manage those emotions. We can help an adult manage those emotions. So coming towards the third stage, that is basically social awareness. So once we are done with self-awareness, or once we talk about self-management, uske baad we start talking about that, okay, you are an individual, but you're also part of a larger scheme, right? So in society, as a civilization, who are you, what are your roles, what are your responsibilities, how would you get along with people, what difficulties can you have. So wahan pe hum empathy, inclusion, is tarah ki sari baatein, diversity ke bare mein baat karte hain. Then comes the relationship skills. Now this is one thing that is seldom talked in our society. मतलब बच्चे से तो we usually don't even talk about it. We mostly talk about ये आपका भाई है, आपने ऐसे करना है, ये आपकी बहन है, आपने शेयर करना है, ये ऐसे है, इसको ऐसे करना है, ये बड़ा है, इसके आगे बोलना नहीं है, छोटा है, इसकी मदद करनी है. But the whole idea of relationship, what is a healthy relationship, what is healthy way to communicate, to communicate your emotions with someone else, what is a healthy friendship, what a healthy friendship or what a healthy relationship looks like, we are never taught about it. I mean, even as an adult, I'm learning that right now at the age of 32, I'm trying to learn that. And then comes the 5th stage, that is decision making, where we teach them, or where we learn together about the collective decision making, the way how to collaborate, how you can, where are the places where you need to make individual decisions, and where does that collaboration come from. So overall, if you ask me कि वो जो emotional being हमारी बन रही होती है, वो कब से बनना शुरू करती है, और उसकी क्या final stage होती है, तो obviously it starts from the very stage when we start realizing that okay, we are an individual other than our mom, right? तो वो जो एक stage आती है जब बच्चा realize करता है कि मेरी एक individualism है, उसके बाद से we need to start inculcating these social and emotional skills in our child, right? And we keep on learning that. I was telling you that University of Yale is still offering, there is this course for young learners, for people like you and me as well, for educators. to understand our own emotions, understand our own social needs, and to help others with it. So yeah.
अच्छा नहीं, थैंक यू, बड़ा इन्फॉर्मेटिव और बड़ा कॉम्प्रिहेंसिवली आपने बताया। एक क्वेश्चन यहाँ मेरे माइंड में आया है कि जनरली जिस तरह हम बात करते हैं कि कुछ लोगों के मुतालिक क्यों ना एक ये बड़ा इमोशनल है, या ये खातून बड़ी इमोशनल है, ये बहुत जल्दी जो है वो ओवरवेल्म हो जाते हैं, या ये तो बड़ा कोई हार्ड किस्म का बंदा है और इसको फर्क ही कोई नहीं पड़ता। तो वो उस पे आप जरा बताओ कि वो किस तरह डिफरेंट, उनको किस तरह कैटेगराइज करते हैं? इज देयर अ कैटेगराइजेशन या इट्स जस्ट अ मिथ?
So when we talk about feelings in general, so we usually categorize it in terms of happy, sad, angry, emotional. We usually categorize them. This is the vocabulary that usually people have, right? But when we are talking about SEL, we give a child a vocabulary that comprises of thousands of words, जिसमें कि अगर for example you're feeling sad, तो उस sad के under there are multiple feelings. There is this whole spectrum of feelings, and under that we teach our child कि आप उस feeling से कैसे identify कर सकते हैं, how it is okay to feel that, and how it is your responsibility to communicate that to another person, and how it is your responsibility to take some action for or against it. So when we talk about as a society, तो obviously that's very common कि ये बच्चा तो बहुत इंट्रोवर्ट है, ये तो बहुत एक्सट्रोवर्ट है, ये तो बहुत ये खेलता है, ये बहुत गुस्सा करता है. For example, being a mom of two girls, I have heard it a lot from moms of सन्स के. वो ये कहती हैं कि आपको तो पता ही नहीं क्या पेरेंटिंग क्या होती है, लड़के तो इतने राउडी होते हैं, लड़के तो इतने तंग करते हैं, लड़कियों को तो संभालना आसान होता है. सो there may be some kind of, obviously there is some developmental difference between a young boy and a young girl, but when we talk about the social and emotional skills and inculcation of those skills, there is virtually no difference in that. So obviously when we label them, it's very common, even during our discussions in our workshops, we talk about this quite often, that it's very easy to label others, और जब आप वो लेबल कर देते हैं तो उस लेबल को लेके चलना भी बहुत आसान होता है. But it's difficult to try to understand the other person. That's where the third stage comes. That's where your social awareness comes, that you try to understand what is the standpoint of the other person as well. So yes.
अच्छा, इसमें जो भी लॉन्ग टर्म अगर हम फैक्ट्स की बात करें, स्पेशली जब बच्चे बड़े होते हैं और उस पर अगर हम इस तरह स्टीरियोटाइपिंग करते आ रहे हैं कि इस पर लेबल लगा दिए इंट्रोवर्ट है, या ये बाहर नहीं जाता, या ये बैठता नहीं है, इस तरह की, तो लॉन्ग टर्म फिर जिस तरह जब वो बच्चे बड़े होते हैं, और अगर जिस तरह आपने बात भी की थी, हमारी सोसाइटी में एज सच जो है वो फीलिंग्स को एक्नॉलेज भी नहीं किया जाता मोस्टली. हम जो we rather would be in denial than actually talking about difficult things, for instance. तो जब भी बच्चे बड़े होते हैं और उसके बाद अगर वो जाते हैं बाहर पढ़ने जाते हैं, वो एक और स्टेज होती है जिसमें वो फिर एक उनकी ग्रोथ का फेज आता है. सेकेंडली एक बहुत मेजर इवेंट फिर जिस तरह बड़े होते हैं हमारी एज को लोग पहुंचते हैं, वो फिर एक शादी का इवेंट आता है, उसमें चेंज आता है, फिर एक पेरेंटहुड का फेज आता है. तो ये सारे मेजर माइलस्टोन्स हैं जिस पे डेफिनेटली एक नई तरह की फीलिंग आपको हर दफा इंट्रोड्यूस हो रही होती है. तो इसका अगर आप जो बचपन में जो इम्पोर्टेंस और इसकी डेवलपमेंट है, उसके लॉन्ग टर्म इफेक्ट किस तरह आते हैं, पॉजिटिव एंड नेगेटिव ऑब्वियसली.
देखिए हमाद, if I say, if we say कि एक स्किल है उसको लर्न करना है, तो दैट इज बेसिकली अ लाइफ स्किल. जैसे हम फॉर एग्जांपल अब बहुत ज्यादा मैंने देखा है कि जो हमारे नए स्कूल्स हैं वो लाइफ स्किल्स के ऊपर बहुत ज्यादा फोकस करते हैं. बच्चे को किचन गार्डनिंग आनी चाहिए, बच्चे को स्विमिंग आनी चाहिए, बच्चे को हॉर्स राइडिंग आनी चाहिए, पर उस बच्चे को अपने बारे में क्या आना चाहिए, उसके बारे में शायद वो जो सर्कल टाइम के अंदर 10 मिनट का टाइम बेसिकली शायद मुश्किल से मिल जाता होगा, जिसमें कि हम थोड़ी बहुत शुगर कोटेड सी बात कर लेते हैं. उसके अलावा we do not usually work on that, right? So as a child, if you do not learn you try to externalize it, and when you try to externalize it, तो as an adult वो सारा behavior उसी चीज को reflect करता है. So for example, I can give you my example. As a child, I used to be a very passive communicator, right? And obviously there would come situations जहाँ पे कि you don't like something, so that made me a passive aggressive communicator. So assertive communication in our society in general is seen as something जिसको कि शायद ये कहा जाता है कि ये तो बदतमीजी कर रहा है बच्चा, right? So ये बातें ये अंडरस्टैंडिंग आपको बचपन से जब नहीं दी जाएगी कि बाउंड्रीज क्या होती हैं, आपका कंसेंट कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है, आपकी assertive बात कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट है, how important it is to communicate your feelings to others, how important it is to understand your own feelings, how important it is to manage your own feelings. तो जाहिर है when we grow up, that reflects in us. अब बड़े होके we are learning कि अच्छा एंगर स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट के लिए मैंने मेडिटेट करना है, मैंने स्ट्रेस मैनेजमेंट के लिए किस तरह से आई नीड टू स्टार्ट जर्नलिंग और स्टफ. अगर आप वेस्ट में देखें तो बच्चे बचपन से ही नाउ इट्स अ ट्रेंड, इट्स अ कॉमन थिंग दैट ओके अ चाइल्ड इज जर्नलिंग, अ चाइल्ड इज मेडिटेटिंग. दीज आर द काइंड ऑफ कोपिंग मैकेनिज्म्स जो कि चल रहे हैं. I was reading the research the other day, and there was this clear research that the academic success of a child depends on the social and emotional learning. Why? Because social emotional learning mein you learn the life skills which are very important. For example, perseverance. For example, understanding the growth mindset. For example, understanding that how important it is to accept yourself the way you are, to accept people the way they are, so that you can collaborate. अब अगर हम आज देखते हैं in general, आप जैसे you are currently in field, I am currently in field, हमारे academics हमें काम दे रहे होंगे, मतलब it can be maybe 10%, 20%, 30%, but mostly what's working right now are our soft skills. और उन skills के ऊपर काम हमारे सर्कल में बहुत कम होता है, मतलब हमारी सोसाइटी में बहुत कम होता है. और उसको फिर बड़े होके या तो हम किसी यूट्यूबर से सीख रहे होते हैं, या तो फिर हम कोई बुक्स पढ़ रहे होते हैं, या तो फिर हम इस तरह के सर्कल्स ज्वाइन करते हैं. लेकिन एज अ चाइल्ड they are completely missing. Even right now I see many aware parents, many parents who are doing mindful parenting, and they are looking for such spaces जहाँ पे कि इस तरह की बात उनके बच्चे से हो सके, इस तरह के skills उनके बच्चे में inculcate किए जा सके. So as a child, when you learn to self-regulate, as an adult you understand what accountability is. So yes.
ठीक है, so we have talked about these things, और इसमें अब मेरा जो important question ये आता है कि आप इस सब के लिए क्या कर रहे हैं, क्योंकि you have a very interesting project. So I would request you कि आप थोड़ा सा brief करें उसके मुतालिक कि what was the idea behind it. कुछ हमने बातें obviously की हैं और एक base बन गई है. So but what was your approach while founding your project, and what's the main goal of it?
So Hamad, the thing is that I told you in the very beginning that as a mother you need to have एक होता है ना, एक आपका बिल्कुल immediate motive होता है और एक आपका होता है जिसमें कि you try to make sense of yourself in this whole scheme of universe, right? So my immediate motive of creating मैं आपको बताती हूँ what the questioning kit is actually. The questioning kit is actually a very dear project to me, where I am trying to create the culture of discourse in our young learners. Now, whenever I see कि पाकिस्तान में क्या opportunities हैं हमारे young learners के लिए, we are living in a metropolitan, right? और हम देखते हैं कि okay, बहुत सारे different activities हैं जिसमें कि arts activities आ जाती हैं, public speaking आ जाती है, जिसमें कि पढ़ाई से related तो सब कुछ ही आ जाता है. But when it comes to their own understanding of their own selves and their understanding of their peers, their understanding of how to handle things, all of this is missing. I felt that very deeply as a parent, basically. So as a mother, I have been looking for such spaces for my children जहाँ पे कि उनसे इस बारे में इस तरह की कोई बात हो. The only space that I could get was therapy, right? So अगर आप थेरेपी में अपने बच्चे को इस चीज के लिए मतलब if you want your child to become part of therapy, that is totally fine. But I wanted a space जहाँ पे कि बच्चे इकट्ठे मिलके इन चीजों के बारे में बात करें और guided learning हो towards these skills. What are those skills? For example, last two months ago we had this workshop under the questioning kit जिसमें के जिसका नाम me you us था. Basically it was about diversity and inclusion. So we talked about how we are different and how we are same, and the activities usually revolve around storytelling. हम storytelling के through ये कर लेते हैं जिसमें कि for example we had this very interesting story of the knitting gorilla जो कि बहुत ही माचो किस्म के गोरेला के घर एक बहुत ही ऐसा लड़का पैदा हुआ जिसको कि knitting अच्छी लगती थी. So how did it go? Then we made then we did a hands-on activity जिसमें हमने cute सा necklace बनाया. So they were choosing their own beads. And when we made that necklace, at the end we had a very reflective discussion कि हर किसी का बीड की चॉइस डिफरेंट थी लेकिन नेकलेस तो कितना प्यारा फिर भी बन गया. So at the end when I took reflections from them, the participants, and they were very young, like for example 7-8 years old, they were talking about the very intimate things, like they were talking about their bodily deformities which they usually don't. They were talking about how they helped their peers become more confident, how they became the change catalyst. They were talking about all those things which they usually don't, obviously, in a classroom setting. So the idea of the questioning kit is basically that as a child you have lots of questions. You need to have a place where you can ask those questions, where you have a non-judgmental space जहाँ पे हम different चीजों के बारे में बात कर सके, उन बातों को इकट्ठा learn कर सके. So that was the whole idea. Currently, if you ask, so I'm currently working on this project under the questioning kit जिसमें कि हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं कि बच्चों को इकट्ठा करें within this time of June and July, and we are going to have a short summer camp जिसमें कि we are going to talk about the same concepts of identity and communication and relationships through different activities. Like we are going to engage some performing arts people, or we are going to engage some storytelling people. We are going to have multiple activities, and we are going to wrap it up. क्योंकि आइडिया सारा जो है वो आइडेंटिटी के बारे में है जिसमें कि we are going to talk about our folklores, indigenous identity as Pakistanis and as Punjabis. So we are going to have a cultural exchange with Indian Punjab as well. So that's what we are planning. Or yeah, that's the whole idea.
That sounds great. अभी हमने बात की, हमने स्किल्स की बात की. So ये सारे बच्चे ये स्किल सेट खुद भी सीखेंगे, स्टोरी टेलिंग और पब्लिक स्पीकिंग जो आप बात कर रहे हो. So these people who will be coming in, they will be basically teaching these kids all these skills. So
yes.
What is the age group for this summer camp?
Currently it is 6 till 11 years old. Yeah, and we are planning one for the younger ones जिसमें की activities थोड़ी different होंगी. That is going to be from 4 till 6 almost. And then inshallah around August I'm planning a full-fledged cultural exchange program between India and Pakistan, and that is going to be obviously a virtual one. But the idea is that we talk about things, we talk about coexistence, we talk about our roots, we talk about how arts and storytelling can help each other heal. So yeah,
इसमें
that has been.
Yeah, जो ये आप स्किल सेट की बात कर रही हैं, इस एज ग्रुप में जो आप बात कर रही हैं, स्पेशली 6 to 11 का जो एज ग्रुप है, उसमें कितना इंपॉर्टेंट है कि बच्चे ये स्किल सेट कर लें. As a outsider, as a layman, I might ask, is it too early for these kids to learn these skills, or is this the right age to learn all these skills?
Hamad, if you meet a 6-year-old, a 7 years old, you would know that they are very wise and very grounded, yet very curious beings. So it's extremely important, and if you give them a proper guideline, if you give them proper set of skills, it can do wonders with them. I have seen kids who have been struggling with their academics, and after giving these soft skills to them, they have started believing in themselves, they've started having more confidence, or academically they've started doing better. And then other than that, if as a parent you are worried about your child being exposed to so many things, अब हर बच्चे के पास गैजेट है और हर बच्चे को इंटरनेशनली नेशनली इतनी सारी चीजों से वो they are exposed to that, so they need to have certain skills to process all of that as well, right? They need to understand their own selves, they need to understand what is going around them as well. तो उसमें ये skills as far as I think, as a parent and as an educationist, this is basically जिसको हम कहते हैं ना 21st century skill. उसमें communication, collaboration, वो सारी तो हम बातें करते हैं, लेकिन these are basically the skills जिसके बारे में आपको बाद में जाके as a human आपको जब बाद में सीखने पड़ते हैं तो मुश्किल होती है. So it's better to inculcate those skills now. So why not?
ठीक है. So before we wrap up, I think किस तरह लोग आपको approach कर सकते हैं? What is the way to register with you? And is there a particular deadline?
Yeah, so Hamad, we have this online presence. We have an Instagram page with the name of the Questioning Kid. Along with that, we have a Facebook page as well, and we have registration form. I'm going to give you the link of the form, and we can obviously add that at the end of the this whole discussion. And the charges are very. I think since we are doing it in a very savvy space, so we are going to have it in the safe space, that is in Cavalry, and that is going to be from 17th, 18th and 19th, and from 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. we are going to have it from 4 till 6 p.m. and yeah, you can use parents can use that registration form. So yes,
the form जो आपको details हैं वो आपको link पे मिल जाएगा, इनके सारे social media channels पे हम add कर देंगे. But before we wrap up, Anam, any parting words, anything that I have missed, anything that you want to add regarding our topic?
Yeah, no, not really, Hamad, but it's just that the idea of investing in your child's skills is yet an idea. Emotional skills, I would say, social and emotional skills, is yet an idea which is new to our Pakistani parents. So as a parent, I would like to say that this is worth doing. This is worth doing. It's very important because at the end of the day, we are first a human and then something else, right? तो आपके report cards और आपकी बाकी सारी चीजें बाद में आती हैं. पहले ये आता है कि who you are as a person. So if there is a space, if not just the questioning kid, if there is a space जहाँ पे कि आपको इस चीज का मौका मिले, that your child can learn something which is far more than academics, so you should try that out. Why not?
I think that is very true क्योंकि empathy is another important thing जिस पे हमें बड़ा काम करने की जरूरत है society में. That
as a nation, yeah, as a nation, बिल्कुल.
As a nation was जरूरी, and that again starts at a very early age, rather than जो हम कोशिश करते हैं कि आप बड़ों को empathy सिखाएं, बच्चों से start करें, so that would go a long way. But once again, thank you so much, Anam, for joining us today. All the very best for your project. और हम जिस भी तरह आपकी हेल्प कर सकते हैं, असिस्टेंट कर सकते हैं, please do let us know. We'll be sharing the links at the end of the podcast, so do contact us. अगर आप इनको नहीं मिल रहे तो आप हमें मैसेज कर दें, हम आपको थ्रू कर देंगे. To Anam, if you have any questions, do let us know in comments. Until next time, Khuda Hafiz.